didn't mean to destroy New York City. You just wanted rent to be a little bit easier. You just wanted rent control. You just wanted the wealthy to pay their fair share because that's better for you. You felt that way. You didn't want people to be getting raped in record numbers or stores being knocked over. You just felt like you didn't want to see another black guy be incarcerated because something prison industrial complex. And if you make decision after decision after decision based on emotion, which is dictated by your selfish, sinful nature, you end up with the hellscapes that we have seen in our lifetime and can get worse.
Do you think some people gravitate towards liberalism because of their personality, in addition to education and home life?
Yeah.
I say this all the time. A lot of liberal voters, not necessarily the lawmakers and politicians, but a lot of they vote purely with their heart.
Yeah, and
that's it. And if something feels icky, or if something feels like somebody out there somewhere might have a bad time, then that's a bad thing. We see that with every ICE, social services, free health. They don't think about the negative consequences because they're so focused on helping out the little guy. At the moment,
that's a very
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to agree with you. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
It's a very feminist kind of position. It's something that if we didn't have that, you really would have to put logic in place. And think about parenting. Like, of course you're empathetic. Like, of course you care about your kids, but you understand that if you don't punish for bad behavior or discipline or guide them and direct them in ways that they may not like or want, that don't maybe feel good, they'll end up way, way worse off very, very shortly after that. Nobody will want to play with them. And then later on, like, they're just, this kid that's kind of an outcast and breaks all the rules and does whatever he wants and gets in trouble maybe with the law. Like, you see it snowball, but you can't make that comparison for politics and people's decisions. It's just this weird, logicless way of governing.
Immediate gratification. That's another one too.
Yeah, it is.
So it's compassion, their heart, and immediate gratification. How is this going to be a good thing? How's it going to make me feel good now about myself or about our country or about my city or whatever it is?
And I will say, yes, I think that's true. And I went through the personality test with Dr. Jordan Peterson a long time ago where I was kind of an anomaly in that I was like high in conscientiousness, but also high in openness and creativity. So a lot of creative types, they tend to be more liberal. And then a lot of people who, conscientious really just means discipline, really just means, setting a plan and sticking with it, being process-based. I will say this, I think that the left votes with their feelings more. And I also would say that because of that, leftists right now, they're less developed people. What do I mean by that? We can exclude the whatever percent of civilization who are sociopaths. Okay, very small percentage, overwhelmingly, trans. So if we dismiss that for a little bit, okay, we go. All right, so let's look at the human population. Any of you have kids? People feel things. Everyone has feelings, right? Everyone is born having feelings, and I will say that everyone is born to varying degrees, typically with some form of sympathy for other people. That's the reason that kids' movies still tug on heartstrings, because they understand the idea of the underdog. They understand the idea of someone who maybe had some tough breaks, who needs help. We all start with that. To continue to make decisions for life based on that, it means that you've never developed the next step, because those who are conservative, those who really sort of subscribe to our worldview, we go, yeah, okay, I have these feelings, but I also have to run it through a filter, because the decisions can't be dictated by feelings. And that's not because we don't care about people. It's not because our heart doesn't go out to people. If that was the case, you wouldn't see the overwhelming majority of charitable contributions in the United States come from the religious right, regardless of income level. They're more generous. They're more charitable. They're more likely not only to give their money, to give their time and to volunteer. And they vote for conservative policies where people should be held accountable for their own actions. Why? Because we say to ourselves, sure, and my heart goes out here, but I can't rush to a judgment, because if I only have sympathy for one group, there's always the distinct possibility that it could have a negative effect, a larger negative effect, an unintended consequence on another group. So what is right here? What are the laws? What is the filter? What is the code? Who has a sense of duty? Is someone abdicating their duty? We all have feelings. We start with that. And there really is no arguing with not making decisions based on feelings is another layer of adulthood. When you're a child, you always make decisions based on feelings because you don't know how to do it any other way. You're not smart enough. You don't have the repertoire of knowledge to glean from to go, okay, how do I assess this scenario and make the right decision? You go, I feel it. That's why kids throw tantrums. Leftists never get to that next phase, which, by the way, super important for dads. It's also why you see incredibly violent young black men without fathers. That is something that is largely taught by fathers, not moms. They can play a supporting role, but historically, leftists are less developed human beings because they are still reacting in a way that is far more similar to a 4, 5, 6-year-old. Someone who looks at the long-term ramifications of tax revenues, for example, or of criminal statistics as it relates to illegal immigration, or, for example, looks at, well, yeah, okay, it might be more inconvenient to vote if you have to get an ID, but the future of our republic is at stake, and so we can't victimize everyone else because they have their vote stolen. That is an additional tool that those on the left don't have. And here's why it's really important, too. Because if you make your decisions, I'll give you a concrete example. If you make decisions based on emotions, you don't necessarily always do this, but you are far more likely to make a snap decision with a very small part of the picture, with half the picture. Meaning, if you have half the picture and you adhere to some kind of code of conduct or ethics where you go, I can't just make a decision based on emotions right away, that's kind of your stopgap. You're going, I only have half the picture. I probably shouldn't make this decision without having some more information. But if you're going by feelings, you go, that's enough. I get it. I'll give you a very clear example. Black Lives Matter. All right, George Floyd, we start off with half the picture. Or Mike Brown, hands up, don't shoot. You hear it, half the picture. This is two fundamentally different approaches. Riots were already taking place in the street before we had the official report in most of these cases. And we said, well, hold on a second. If this was just a kid walking down there with his hands up and he was shot by a cop, that's a problem and he should be held to account. But it doesn't seem like that's what's happening right now. The left goes, hands up, don't shoot. They're already rioting. By the time we find out, oh, the kid had just committed robbery, had just stolen from a bodega and was punching a cop in the head and reaching for his gun. And that cop was actually on that beat, Darren Wilson, because he wanted to serve underprivileged community. It was his choice to be there. And the community actually trusted him and really respected him. So I'm really glad I didn't go riot in the streets. Same thing, George Floyd, right? The riots, the billions of dollars in damages. But let me give you a more individual scenario that'll break your heart. It'll break your heart even worse when you understand that the reason for it is because people made decisions based on feels. David Dorne, during these riots, he was an off-duty black officer who went to go help a friend with a shop that was being looted. He was shot dead by another black man over a television set. Now, if you show up or you read an article and you just go, wait a second, Black Lives Matter and cop shot. You go, well, I mean, you know, there probably was something going. Hold on a second. You have half the picture. You're going to make a judgment if you look at this whole picture. This is a black man involved with this community who was off duty, who decided to donate not only his resources, but his time to try and help a fellow black man was shot by a black man over a television set. Hey, thank Christ. I waited for the full picture and didn't make a decision based on emotion. A lot of people think that evil too, and this is why I often say conspiracy theories, and people go, how many people are colluding? It happens. Usually all that's needed is not even when people say all that's needed for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. Starts quite a bit before that. Let me tell you how evil starts. Selfishness. That's it. Someone may not be trying to be bad. Someone may not be trying to harm someone else. We are all born very, very selfish, inherently. You need good parents, and you need a system of laws and regulations and code of conduct that brings you beyond that. But that's all that needed is some selfishness. That's it. A lot of times we go, where does evil start? Day you're born. Day you're born and you don't learn how to behave beyond emotion because your emotions, if left to your own devices, are going to be very selfish. They're going to be very selfish. Just take, before we had modern technology, you got to eat, you got to sleep, you got to hydrate, you have to procreate. That's pretty much all that human beings did. That's why wars were fought. Either I can't eat and I think it'd be easier to eat over here, and so I'm going to kill these people. Or, it looks like this place might be warmer, so I want to sleep there. Or I need to procreate, but all our women are ugly as sin, so I want those women, right? That's all it was before modern technology. Now, take that, expand it, okay, eat, sleep, procreate. Leisure, feel comfortable, have resources, be able to buy a car, be able to buy a house. You feel these things inherently, you want these things, and you're going to make decisions based on your selfish motivations. Hey, you didn't mean to be evil. You didn't mean to destroy New York City. You just wanted rent to be a little bit easier. You just wanted rent control. You just wanted the wealthy to pay their fair share because that's better for you. You felt that way. You didn't want people to be getting raped in record numbers or stores being knocked over. You just felt like you didn't want to see another black guy be incarcerated because something prison industrial complex. And if you make decision after decision after decision based on emotion, which is dictated by your selfish, sinful nature, you end up with the hellscapes that we have seen in our lifetime and can get worse. So we can say, yeah, and people will often just touch on this and go, well, left people tend to be more empaths. They'll use that term. It's a bullshit made-up term. They make decisions based on emotion, and conservatives, even the left will acknowledge this, make decisions based on what they believe is the most practical or logical. Okay, you can look at that and go, two different approaches, as though they are equivalent. Or you can look at that and ask yourself, was I born inherently selfish with strong feelings? The answer for all of you is yes. Was I born inherently with good judgment, informed by an authority outside of my own? The answer for everybody is no. So one vote comes from a more developed, complete, balanced human being. Don't act like there's an equivalency. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube? You've probably noticed something is missing by now. I'm not here. That's because the Live Daily Show is now streaming exclusively on Rumble weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Tune in there, where nothing is censored.